Hey, this is Rosa, RCG Creations, Rosa, Rubio, Giotta. How you doing? Today I'm bringing to you green beans, fresh green beans, and I already chopped all the little ends on both ends. Then I chopped them in thirds, depending on how long they were. Okay, I will tell you these were frozen because when I got them, it was about a month ago. There was no way I had time to do anything with them, so I rinsed them, washed them, put them in a Ziploc baggie, and I froze them. So I took them out last night, cut them all up, cut the ends off to save time on the video, because all you're doing is cutting the ends of the green beans, and then cutting it into thirds, depending on how big they are. Like, look, here's one. I missed it. So let me put this to the side. Let me get a knife. And an important disclaimer here, this is just what I do based on what I've seen, what I've experimented on before. So please do your own homework, do your own investigations. Okay, now what we're going to do is you want to make sure they're clean, sterilized jars. My lids are all washed and cleaned. My rings are washed and cleaned and dried. I don't boil these because you don't have to do that anymore. It's not required. I'm trying to get myself, for some reason, my notes here, because this is honestly my very first time pressure canning green beans. So, oh, I forgot my jar ring. You know what? I really don't need it. That's why I don't have it, because I don't really need it. Make sure you have clean, sterilized hands. All your utensils are clean and sterilized. And then I am just going to pack the jars. If you're doing, and my table has been cleaned and sanitized, so we're good to go there. If you're doing fresh green beans, they're not as limpy as these are. Hubby and I pretty much only care for French style green beans, but since I'm trying to do food preservation, I wanted to try it, and I'm going to try everything that we like. I'm going to try it at least once. There's been, I think, only 2 things that I've made that hubby and I didn't care for at all. There's been some stuff that I loved that he did not love. So I'm just doing a small portion. And then I'm writing in my notebook. I have a little spiral notebook that I keep track of everything here. Oh, and you want to give yourself a 1-inch headspace, because I think I remember putting that down. Yeah, 1-inch headspace. So that'll be to the bottom ring right here. Okay. So you want to pack them as much as possible, because you are going to be adding boiling water. Very hot water, so don't forget hot jars, hot cans. But because this just came out from the fridge, I'm going to be doing, this is just me, so you do your own research, do your own thing. I'm doing cold jars, cold beans, cold water to pour inside, and a cold canner, because these are very cold. And because, again, like I said, I did this last night, so they came out of the fridge. They're cool. They're not warm. They're not room temperature. No, they're not really room temperature. And I don't want to mess with these too much because they're already kind of soft from being frozen. So I personally think I'm going to prefer that I do this the next time and make sure that I purchase green beans when I know I can make it right away and not freeze them. I just knew there was going to be at least, because I got them on, I think it was on a Saturday. And it was late Saturday when I bought them, and I knew there was no way, because I worked during the week, that I was going to have time to can them. So they went to the freezer, because I knew they wouldn't last. Well, I didn't know. I was just assuming they wouldn't last. So all I'm doing now is filling up the jars. And again, because they're limpy. Oh, I will tell you this, it is highly recommended that when you get your beans, you shake them, because you want them to settle and get in all the grooves and get rid of all the air pockets. Don't forget, you're going to want to debubble before you put your lids on. But see, when you shake it, you shift, see how much more room it made? So I'm going to pick up all these that fell. And then there's more room and headspace for more. So I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I'm going to shake it. Again, make sure your hands are clean and sterilized. Well, not sterilized, but clean. My hands are clean. I washed it with soap and water before I start, and then as I'm going with each one and washing all my stuff. Oh, you know what? I think I'm going to need another more jar. Oh, I think I may make it. Hubby made pot roast with potatoes and carrots. If I have anything extra, I think I'll just put them in the pot roast, because that's what we're going to have for supper tonight. Well, I think this was a 2 pound, I believe. I ordered it again. It was a couple of weeks ago, so I don't know when I picked it up, because it was already in a bag. Okay, yeah. I'm actually going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 jars, so that's going to work out pretty good. So, my colander is empty. Move that to the side. And let me shake. Let me shake this one. And see how they all settle down. And this is a pretty blue. I love these little blue jars. But you know what? I forgot my canning salt. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Now you want to add 1 1/2 teaspoon of canning salt for pints and 1 teaspoon for quarts. So since I have pints, we're going to we've got to do the half. And make sure it's canning salt. The canning salt, canning or pickling salt, depending on how you buy it, is the one that does not have iodine in it. That's the only thing that's here is required when you're pressure canning, is salt that does not have iodine. And I'm going to be honest with you, I read it once a long time ago, and if I remember, I know I have it in my notebook. I'll add it to the description, in the description box, of why you don't want to use any iodized salt when you're pressure canning. Well, it's not so much you don't want to use it, it's recommended. Again, remember, everybody do your own research. Do what's best and what works for you. Now you want to add water to 1 inch headspace. Let me make sure I'm doing this right. Yep, fill up with water to 1 inch headspace, so that's going to be this bottom ring. And I'm making a big mess. I'm spilling. Let me get my little towel. I know this looks ugly, but I'm going to show you anyway, because I liked it. I collect Coca-Cola. That's my kitchen theme, as you can see from around here. And a friend of mine found this in a garage. It's old Coca-Cola. Of course, it's stained and stuff, but I washed it, thoroughly washed it, disinfected it and all. Let me get my little stem from that first green bean out. But this is what I'm going to use to start, because it's all stained and ugly anyway, so I don't really care what it looks like. And I'm going to use that. This is what I'm going to start using to do my pressure canning with, because if it gets stained and whatever, I really don't care. But I stay within my theme of my kitchen of Coca-Cola. So just fill your jars up. should have just used a bowl with a spout, would have been a lot easier. And a little bit faster too. Just to the 1-inch headspace, so that's that bottom ring. Okay, there's number 3. Today's Saturday, and this is going to be my canning weekend, because I'm going to try just to work on crafts during the week, my sewing and crafts during the week, and then Saturdays or Sundays, because canning takes so long, and prepping, preparing, making the food, making the meal, whatever it is that you're making. So I'm going to start using Saturdays and Sundays as my pressure canning days. So I've got like 4 or 5 videos I want to do this weekend. Ooh, I have just enough water. I'm actually getting pretty good at this pressure canning, about eyeballing 10 times and things of what I think I need. I'm getting better at it. Again, this is just my first year doing it, so sorry for the bowl and the camera. Look at that. Just bad. Maybe enough for one little swig of water. Okay, now get your debubbler. And you want to debubble. Because remember, anytime you're doing liquid with food, you want to debubble because you want to get the air pockets out, so you don't have a problem in the processing time. Don't forget to go in the middle of each jar. Personally, I like to work with my jars on a towel. That's just me. Versus on the counter or the cold table. It's winter here. We're in Texas. We're in Houston, South Texas, so not really south, but south there. So we don't really have that much of an issue with cold weather, except for tomorrow it's supposed to snow. Okay, I'm going to be giving 3 of these jars to a good friend of mine. Her, sadly, she lost her husband many years. Oh, you know what? I forgot to get my towel. This is my clean towel here. And wipe. Remember, after you're to debubble, always wipe your jars. Actually, you're supposed to feel them with your finger. Make sure there's not any cracks. And I tend to do this when I'm washing my jars. But I wash my jars and I sit them down. And then, you know, things can happen. So it won't hurt to double check it. So, and this is just because you want to make sure that there's no sediment or anything that would prevent a seal from happening. So, and then you just wipe down your jars. And that's to get a good seal. Now add, and then again, I like to have the word, if there's a lid that has a word to it. I'm going to do blue. It's going to look pretty. And I found a green ring. I have a blue, some blue and green, and I think I have red. And I'll go back to my original story. Was this friend of mine, actually he's a co-worker of my husband, and his mom is moving into an assisted living home, getting out of her house. Her husband had died, and she said it was time. Oh, this is a blue lid. Let's do a blue. I want to color code, color coordinate. This is a ball jar, and we're going to use a ball lid. And this is a ball jar. This is going to be a blue lid with a silver top. And I'll bring that up and I'll show you. Remember, everything's finger tight. Your middle finger and your thumb, finger tight. And see that? That's a green. I can't, you know, you can't really tell. It's a blue lid, blue jar, blue lid, silver. So that's going to be a colorful jar. I'll probably give that to her. Anyway, her and her husband was more of a canner than her. I asked her because she gave me her entire glass collection. I got half a gallon jar, like 20, 25 half-gallon jars. I don't know how many quarts, probably like 20 cases of quarts. Just a few of these pints, not very many. And there were like 6 or 7 because they had them in the little shed. And, oh, I have an extra jar. Okay, an extra lid. And in the shed, and sadly, there was rodent poopy, spiders and webs and dust and dirt. And some of these were like had that much dirt in them. Because she put them all in they were all put in the shelves in there. Because apparently that's must have been where they stored them at. And, but with no lids. There's no cover. So there's dirt and all this stuff. So I had first I had to hand soak them in the sink. And with hot soapy water, and they soaked for about 2 hours. Then I hand washed every single one, and make sure I got all the crud and yucky stuff out. Then I put them all in the dishwasher, and then we sanitized it. We washed it a full regular wash load in the dishwasher, and had them all sanitized, so they were all clean. And there was just like 2 or 3 that were not coming clean whatsoever. So I went ahead and cleaned them again, put them in the dishwasher again, and they still weren't coming clean. So you know what? I'm going to use those because I just don't want to take any chances for only dry packing, like crackers, candy. I'm actually probably just going to save them to when I'm canning, vacuum canning my like candy and stuff, just so we have something sweet. Because sadly, we just don't know what the future holds with this pandemic stuff that's going around. And not only that, but my husband unfortunately has lost his job like 4 times. He didn't lose his job. He got laid off all 4 times because of the economy for the last 12 years. So, you know, you get some lean times, you know, and I just want to have all that, you know, and we all have a sweet tooth. So you know what? But I only can what I know we're going to eat. That's it. I don't can anything else. Now, I may like when I make a meal, like burritos in a jar. I love burritos, and I loved it. And when we first made it, it was so good because I made it, and we had it for supper that night, and then I canned the rest. The next day, I ate some. Sorry. I couldn't handle it. Hubby didn't care for it either, so that's not saying too much. But my biggest issue is I liked it. It had a great flavor. It had a great taste. But I could not handle the texture of the rice and the ground beef. It just wasn't working for me together. So I'm going to try a small batch. I'm only going to do a batch of 4 jars with some other jars because I'm probably going to make some tomato paste. Not tomato paste, tomato sauce. Or I'll make some more spaghetti sauce because we can always use spaghetti sauce. Now, we love our canned spaghetti sauce. We both really love that. So that's the definite thumbs up. And I'll put a link if I can remember to add that spaghetti sauce. Because I did YouTube it. I think I'm almost positive I made a video, but I'll double check it. But if I did, I'll put a link on the description box so you can always click on that if you want to learn that recipe. But it's really good. And as you can tell, I'm a big woman. Hubby's a big guy too, so we like to eat. Our biggest problem is we don't exercise. And that's, you know what? When I'm ready mentally to do something about it, I will. But until then, I'm okay, and I'm happy, and I'm healthy. I get checked every year, so you know what? To each his own, you know? But anyway, let me go. Oh, there's my jar that I'm missing. I am rambling on. And sorry about that. I think I'm going to edit that part of it, of the video, because this is like, you don't need to hear me going into all that. But anyway, so get back. So now, finger tight. Okay, so there's my jars. Now I'm going to take them over to the canner. Then I'll bring you back in a minute. Okay, I'm back. All my jars, I'm going to bring you up there to it. There are the jars. Now I'm going to put my lid. And I don't think I've ever shown how to put a lid. No, the All-American canner, they do require you to about once every 2 to 3 canning sessions, you oil the inside of the rim. And I go ahead and oil the outside. And I just use petroleum jelly. So put that on there. Oh, got it backwards. On this, on the All-American canners, there's a little notch with the arrow, and then there's a little notch right here. Let me bring you a little closer to that. There and there. Then you turn it to this little groove here and this little groove here. And this is where you want to make sure that it's level and it's sealed. You can do this when it's a cold canning process, but if it's hot you can't do that. But you can easily maneuver it. So let me put you back here. Okay, so now that is sealed and it's closed. And you always want to do the two toggle across from each other. You don't want to close it tight, tight, tight yet. You want to get it in here. Oops. So they go in and then tighten them up. Okay. Sorry for my back. I'm going to make it a little quick one. Okay. And then this one here. And now, okay, now they're all on there and it's sealed pretty good. So now you're going to tighten it. Oops. Tighten it, Rosa. Don't loosen it. And tighten it to what you do because you're the one that's going to open it. Now if you have hubby or somebody else that's going to do it for you, if they tighten it, make sure that they're there to unloosen it because otherwise you're going to have trouble getting these off. Now you want to set my fan. I like to have my fan going. Set my oven. We just had to get a new oven. The other one went kapooey. And this is my very first time using it. Okay, which is the, okay, there's the front. This is the burner. You know, from what I'm told, a lot of gas stoves, my husband's the one that really did all the research because he's most of the cook in the family, not me. And I'm trying to see where's my, oh, this particular canner, or bringing my stove, I'm sorry, has numbers. My other one didn't have that, so it's like, oh, so they have numbers, high and low, and of course the little dials that tell you what they are. Oh look, you can even do precise simmer. That is nice. That's in the rear one. Okay, new one that I learned. And then here's my little dials, but I don't know anything about it. And I'm just chit-chatting right now because see the condensation on the canner because it's cold water. And I'm going to turn the heat on. Actually, you know what? When you do it with cold canner, you don't want to go with full force heat. I'm going to go to 8. This is going to take a little bit longer, but I don't want to shock my jars and I don't want to shock my canner right away with instant heat. I'm going to let it come up. I'm going to wait about 10 minutes and then I'm going to put it on totally high. And that's what I've read and a bunch I've done on my reading that I've done. That is recommended whenever you're starting with a cold canner. Don't start off on really high. Start off at a lower amount. Wait about 5 or 10 minutes. Give it time for the water to warm. And I'm just going to wait for the condensation to go away. Then I know I can come back and turn it all the way to high, so I can get my steamer to start steaming. And once this is a solid, steady steam, then I add my weight. And here's what my weight looks like. It's got 5, 15, and 10. It depends on your altitude of what, how many pounds of pressure you use. And then mine has the gauge, and mine is the model 921. So I'll bring you back when we get to that next phase. Okay, I'm bringing you back. And you see how the condensation has gone away from the stove? So now I'm going to go ahead and put this on high. And I'm going to wait for my steam to start steaming, venting. When it's a solid, steady stream, that's when I put my weight on and I set my timer for 10 minutes. Okay, we're back. The timer went off for the processing time. Now I'm taking off the knobs. I did take off my weight. Sorry for the reach there. Oh, this hot. I took off the weight after it hit 0 pressure. So I took off the weight and then I let the steam. I set my timer for 10 minutes because I wanted to make sure that all the steam came out. And when the 10 minutes was up, I took my weight off. Then I set it for 5 more minutes. because I wanted to make sure any additional pressure after removing the weight was gone. So now it's off. So now I'm taking off the lug nuts. And then we've got to turn. Oh, let me get another hot plate. A hot mat. Ooh, be careful because it's very, very hot. Can you turn it? Make sure you take the lid facing toward you so the steam goes that way and you don't get burned. This is very hot and very heavy. Okay, I lay it in my sink. And let me bring you to this. I'm going to try to do this one-handed. So there's the jar. Now you use your jar lifter. And there are your jars. There's the blue, the silver one. Sorry for the, I'm going all over the camera. I'm going to put this down just so you can see what I'm doing. Okay. So now I'm just taking the jars. I'm being careful. Hubby's out in the garage doing some stuff, so I got to do this myself. But typically he helps me because I'm such a shorty. Oh, I forgot to tell you, look. I forgot to put vinegar in the water. You see that white stuff? That's because I forgot to put the vinegar in there. So I'll make sure I add that to the description box on the recipe. But look, see how they're boiling? Oh, and when you take them out, never tilt the jars because that will compromise the seal. Possibly compromise the seal. When you lay them on your towel, you want to leave them on here at least 12 to 24 hours. Then you take the rings off. And then you wash your jars with hot soapy water. And then I personally wash the rings and dry them. I wash on the inside, make sure I get all the little grooves and get on the inside. And then I hand dry each single ring because I don't want them to rust. But there's one with the green lid. See the bubbles? And again, there's their water sediment because I forgot my vinegar. Add my vinegar in there. And I forgot my vinegar because this time I only used a wet towel because it was just cold dry beans instead of using my vinegar water with the paper towel to wipe my rims and my jars. So we have accomplished 5 jars of green beans. 2 of them are going to go to my friend who gave me her entire stack of all her jars as a thank you. She's pretty much, she said she only wanted green beans. She didn't want anything else, but I think I'm also going to give her some mulberry jelly because I'm going to be making mulberry jelly next. Okay, thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next video. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, place a comment. YouTube loves it when I get some comments. It helps them with the algorithm. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Take care. Bye-bye.